Hi there, this is Vahid from VRF Education channel, and today I'm going to continue our discussion on how to do things in parallel in Qt framework. Till now, we have learned how to create a thread inside Qt framework and also how to use QtConcurrent run method in order to do things in parallel. And today I'm going to talk about how we can use map and mapReduce in Qt framework in order to do things in parallel. Although we can create a new thread or even use QtConcurrent run method to initiate a new thread and move a part of application to that thread and run it simultaneously, it couldn't help us reduce response time in most scenarios. For example, most of the time we need to apply a business to a list of items. Imagine that I have a large list of items and I want to run a function on all these items. And these items are independent. It means that I can run this function on those items really concurrently. For this situation, if we just create a thread and move this part to that thread, it's not going to help us a lot. It just prevents the main thread from blocking or UI from freezing. But we need to spend that amount of time in another thread. And here, we are not using the most power of our CPUs. As I said before, today CPUs has a lot of cores and virtual threads, so we can make use of them to run things in a real concurrent manner. So for this purpose, Qt provides a function inside QtConcurrent framework named map or mapped. And also there's a mapReduce function that I'm going to talk about it in next session. These two functions let us to run a function on a list of items. So we need an iterable object, list is one of them, and we can run a function on those items concurrently. And here, QtConcurrent gonna see how many threads can I use simultaneously, and then make use of them and run and create as many as threads that it can to run application really concurrently. So let's see how we can make use of these two functions and see the difference between them. There's an explanation here, but I'm going to show you in practice how these two functions can help us reduce the response time of our application. Let's go to Qt Creator. Well, I created a dialog with 3 different buttons to run a related method from QtConcurrent. We first focus on these two, and then I run the sample with the run method to see how these two functions are going to help us to run a function over items concurrently. For this purpose, first I'm going to create a list of integer items, and then after that I'm going to add a couple of items, for example 1000 number inside that list, and then I want to call 2 different functions on this list items. Let's see how it works. For this purpose, first I'm going to create a list of list of integer inside my data list inside this place, and then in the constructor let's build it first to get rid of these errors. Okay, so then I'm gonna say data list for from 1 to 10 for just demonstration how this item works, how we can use map and map function. I'm just gonna create a list of 10 numbers. Data list I. So here we have 10 items inside the list. And when I click the btn map, I'm going to call QtConcurrent map function. For map function, first I need to mention the list. This is the underlined data list, and then the function name that I'm gonna run it over each item inside the list. So let's create those functions. I forgot to create them. First one is a doubler function that's gonna multiply each item inside the list by 2, and the other one is tripler. It's going to multiply it by 3. So for the first one, when I want to use map said, okay, I'm gonna update items in place. So we don't need to return anything from doubler functions. And on the other hand, let's call it, create it, doubler. Here, I need to create an integer. This type should be the same as our list or iterable variable that we have, and I'm calling it ampersand data. Do not forget to create alias for the item because we need to update it in place. And here I'm just gonna say data multiply by 2. That's it. And for tripler, because I want to use mapped function said that I'm running items concurrently and create a new list. I'm not gonna update anything in place. So here we need to return something. Again, the return type should be equal to the type of our data list. Tripler. Here we need to pass a const integer. Again, the type should be the same as the data list, and this time it should be const because we are not going to change it. Here we should return data multiplied by 3. That's it. And this time when I click the map function, I'm gonna say okay, run doubler function. Let's just move this to the top of the class. So it's, and let's see, I forgot to include QtConcurrent. QtConcurrent. And then I'm gonna catch the result. It's a type of QFuture, and we have to do a lot with this result in the next sessions. And here I'm gonna say result dot wait for finished. So the UI will be blocked until the process finished, and it's not important because I'm just going to show you how this map function works. And in the next session, we will see how we can use QFuture Watcher to monitor this process. And here I'm just calling QDebug data list. And also I'm going to copy these items here, and this time I'm going to say mapped run tripler over the data list. Let's just comment this one and see how mapped work, and then I'm gonna back and continue on this mapped function. So it's it. Oops, I forgot to change it from here. Number include map. Okay. Map test dialog. That's it. So this is a UI. If I press map, you can see it's a queue list, and every item inside the list from 1 to 10 and 0 to 9, it's just multiplied by 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, and the others. Now I'm gonna change the code a little bit because I need to click those buttons a couple of times. So I need to just clear the list at the start of a slot, and then add a couple of items inside that. And here again, I'm gonna clear it and add a couple of items in that. Here I'm gonna wait until finished, and then I'm gonna print source items, it's equal to data list, and for result I'm going to call results. See, result is the first item inside the return list. Its type is equal is the same as the data list type, and results return a queue list of integer. Let's check it here. Result dot results. This is queue list of integer, so I'm gonna call it results. And that's it. Let's run the application and see the output. If I run the map, it's again multiply each item by 2, and this time you can see the source data list does not change, but for the result we have a new queue list of integer that each item multiplied by 3 in that list. Okay, now let's change the code a little bit. I want to add 1000 items here. And here in doubler and tripler function, I'm gonna say, okay, every time you reached here, please wait QThread for 20 milliseconds. Okay, and after that, go ahead and do the other operations. Here, I'm just mimicking a lengthy operation. And here, let's do what? Let's estimate the execution time. Here we have 1000 items, and if we want to run it sequentially, we need to spend 1000 times multiplied by 20 milliseconds. It equals to 20,000 milliseconds, or 20 seconds. Let's see how map and mapped function gonna help us for this purpose. I'm just gonna create a QElapsed instance, timer.start, and then after that I'm gonna print timer.elapsed. That's it. And also let's copy this one and paste it here. Okay. Oops. Let's see what we did here. Okay, that's it. After for and after the result finished, I'm gonna print it on the for. So let's run the application and see the result. So if I run map UI blocked, because we are waiting for the output, and it says, okay, it gets approximately 2 seconds instead of 20 seconds. We just spent 2 seconds. And also let's clear this one and press mapped function. Here again we need to wait about 2 seconds, and these are the items. Yeah, the result is the same. We need to wait for approximately 2 seconds. Now I want to do this using QtConcurrent run method. Let's see how many seconds should we wait there. It's obvious. So because it's gonna take a lot, here I'm gonna add 1000 item. Instead of 1000, I'm gonna just pass 500 items, and for doubler I'm gonna reduce it to 10 milliseconds. So here we need to wait for example 5 seconds, approximately 5 seconds. And here I'm gonna just say run. Oh, I forgot to, I need to create another method for this purpose. Run helper function, and here let's bring let's write it by hand. First I need to iterate, and here we need to change the type, QList of integer, and I'm gonna change it to data list. And here I need to iterate over the data list, and then SD for 10 seconds. And here data list of index I multiplied by 2. That's it. So this is the run helper method. It's just the same as we want to do with the map function, but we need to implement that logic inside the run helper method. So for run it's data list, and I'm gonna pass the we need to say that you're gonna call the run helper, and parameter is underline data list, and that's it. So as the timer starts, wait for finish, and then print the timer output. And also I'm gonna change this one also to 500, and for doubler, yeah, we need to wait 10 milliseconds each time. And I want to compare these two together. So let's run the application. This time if I click run, click map, you can see here I need to wait, for example, 500 milliseconds, a half of second, okay? And if I press run method, we need to wait more, about 5 seconds. So it's as you can see, we need to wait up to 5,000 milliseconds or 5 seconds. So this time we just run a new thread, and we need to do sequential things in parallel. But here with the map functionality, we can get use of all the power of our CPUs till the system allow us to create threads. Okay, so this is just the difference between mapped and run, mapped series and run method. And that's it. So you can do almost every things that we need to apply on a list of items using map and mapped function, and you need to choose, I want to update in place, or I need a new list of items, and then run mapped or mapped function. I was supposed to talk about the third method, mappReduced, in another session, but I've changed my mind, and I want to show you how you can use mappReduced function when your application. If we go one more time to documentation, it says that mappReduced is like mapped. So it's received a function and call it on all items inside a list concurrently. And after that, instead of returning a list of new items, it's just gonna create a single result. So we reduced those items into one single result. It's good for sometimes that we want to summarize data, or we want to conclude something from the data. We use mappReduce function, and it's going to do all those items for us concurrently, and also without need for mutex and semaphores and other stuff like that. So what does it mean? Let's create another method, another button here. I'm going to change it to mappedReduce, and then change the name between mappedReduce. Create a slot for that. Click the slot, and I'm gonna copy this code from the mapped function and paste it here. So it says, I received a list of items. Give me a function that you want to call on all those items. This is the triple R method or function. And after that, give me another function that you want to summarize or reduce data using that function into one single result. Imagine that I'm going to add 10 items inside this list, 10 numbers 0 to 9, and then multiply each item concurrently by 3, and then sum all the new numbers together and return it back. So tripler is just a part of our scenario, and I need another function named, I'm gonna call it sum. And let's go to documentation one more time. Here it says, for reducer function, you need to pass two parameters. The first one is has the same type as the original list, and for the intermediate values, it doesn't important to have the same type. Maybe it's something different. And also we have a return type for the function. It's not be used in future. It says here, and you can read it. So let's get back here. So for the first item, I'm gonna create an integer, because here I have an integer list. Create alias for this, I'm going to call it left, and for the right again, because tripler function also returned int type, I'm going to use int. Create a constant parameter int, and I'm going to call it right, and the body of this function is to left equal plus equal to right. That's it. And then I'm going to change it to mappReduced, and also provide reducer function. Oops, yeah. And we don't need these timer things, because I'm not going to estimate the timing, execution time. So for output, I should use result, because here we have only one single result. Let's run the application and see the output. And also, I just printed out the original data list to see that this list doesn't change. So if I press mappedReduced, you can see, let's clear this one and run it one more time. Here we have the original list, and the summation of multiplying these items by 3 is 135, and that's okay. You can check it in your computer. And there's also another way, or another tips about this reducer function. there is an entrance order. It says that when any threads, when any of threads that just we use to handle this triple item on the data list, shall we wait for threads to be finished in order, or we can just enter to the reducer function in any order or unordered. The default item is unordered. As you can see here, it says that unordered. For this scenario, it's not important to preserve orders to enter the reducer function, but I'm going to change the scenario. Let's comment this. Let's comment all of these items. Here I'm going to create a string list. Oops, what's happened? QString list. And the name is list. I'm going to add a couple of items inside list. So what do I want to do? I want to remove all the space, or I want to trim the string. It means to remove all the space from the start and the end of a string, and also cast them to upper. For example, this should be changed to capital A. This one is good, and this one should be cast to capital C, and this one capital C. And then I want to concatenate them together. So for this purpose, let's first create two functions. At first, I need a function, say cleaner and capital. I should pass a string parameter here, and I'm here just say data return data dot trimmed to upper. And then for the other one, I'm going to create a function named appender. Here first I'm going to receive a string as the left operand and another string, constant string, as the right operand. And here I'm going to say L plus equal to R. That's it. So here, let's just copy these lines. Uncomment this. I'm not need this one, and uncomment this one. So here I'm going to say run cleaner and capital function on all items inside the list, and then call the appender, or pass all the result of cleaner and capital option to the appender, and append all those items together, and at last print the result. So what do I really expect is A, B, C, D all in capitals without any space. Okay, let's see if it works or not. Oops, no. Q, what's the error? Q is string, yeah, string. Okay, if I click mapReduce, this time it works very well. If I click a couple of times, you can see sometimes the order changed. So it's an unordered entrance to reducer function. We can change it and pass another parameter as the fourth parameter and say QtConcurrent ordered reduce. And this time, after reducer, after all the cleaner and capital functions called, then they get into reducer function in order. If I clicked it a couple of times, you can see all the time the order preserved. Okay, and they all has the same result for output, A, B, C, D. So that's it. Sometimes we need to enter to the reducer function in order. So it might maybe if we have a lot of items inside out list, it take more and with the response time is increased. But sometimes we are we have to get into the reducer function in order. So this is the way that you can enter to the reducer function in order. That's it. So these are the basic concept of map and mapped, reduce and mapped, also method in Qt Concurrent. I hope you enjoyed the content, and in next session I'm going to show you how we can use Qt Future Watcher in order to monitor the progress of parallel items that we have in run currently. So till next session, goodbye.